Thank you for coming back.
Of course.
I think it's been 2, maybe 3 years, probably.
Around COVID time, yeah, I think.
Yeah, it was COVID time. Yeah, so you've been busy. I guess since last time you've started a company. I see you're doing some boxing and yeah, I don't know. But generally, before I get into that, how are you? How is everything?
Yeah, you don't hear that all the time now, right? So it's good. But yeah, no, I'm doing good. It's been busy. Just grinding away. How about yourself? I know it's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been it's been busy. Just working. Like you mentioned a bit earlier, I post my weekly checklist on Instagram.
Huh?
It's like I'm doing a 90-day checklist, essentially trying to build good habits. And I came up with a list of, I think, 5 or 6 things, like
Okay.
waking up early, lifting 3 times a week, running, meditating, reading, etc. So really, it's supposed to be a way to just maintain the habits that I want to maintain. In the past, I used to do like a daily checklist. That got too stressful because I didn't want to miss a tick mark every day.
Yeah.
But this way, over a 7-day period, I have like lifting 3 times a week means I can do it on 3 out of 7 days. It's not every single
Still
day.
hit your goal. Yeah.
So it makes me feel better about logging it, and it also like doesn't demotivate me.
I like that. I think I might have to use that as well, because last time I was here, we talked about compound effect, where it's like doing the same thing every day, right? But now it's like, well, if you're super busy, you can't even do everything every day, right? So I like that idea. I might have to implement that myself.
Exactly. Like I find some things that I'd actually do every day. You don't need a checklist for everything, right? It's like whatever you think it's hard to be accountable, or trying to like whatever you think you're not going to be keeping up with, or you need some kind of a little push.
For sure.
Because I think everyone has those things they want to do, but they don't really put a little effort into it. Those are the things on my list, just to make sure I don't take it easy, basically.
Yeah. If you like, from personal experience, if you document everything, and then you break it down into like weeks, months, and then even days, that's just the best way to kind of, I think, hit your goals, right? Even in business as well. It's like, if you don't know what you're going to do that week, you'll just be like in point A to point B to point Z. You won't even know what you're doing, right? You're just all over the place. But if like breaking down exactly what you need to do, and then like segmenting it by week and day, I think that's been super helpful. But yeah, so working out and meditating, how have you found all that?
So working out is pretty good. I'm targeting 3 times a week. I don't hit it all the time. So the next one, I'm planning to target 4, so I at least hit 3. Because I find sometimes I get 2, a couple of times just once a week. But I want to hit 3 minimum. So that's unfortunately just a mind game, where it's like, if you want to meet something, you got to aim a little bit higher, just so
You're guaranteed to hit that.
Yeah. So it's good though. I actually had a personal trainer for 3 years. I finished my contract, I think, November. So this is the first workout plan that I came up with myself. I sent it off to my trainer, and he gave some suggestions. So this first challenge that I'm doing now, so I'm finished week 10. I have 3 more. It's my first time coming up with my own workout plan and sticking through it. So that's I thought it was a good time, because now I'm on my own instead of with a trainer. So I want to do this a few more times, so that like even on a bad week, I know I'll be in the gym. It's not like I'm going to avoid it just because I don't have a trainer. So it's been good. As far as the workout, I've just been trying to like hit everything, trying to think of like maintenance, basically.
Okay.
I'm not training for anything specific. Not trying to bulk or anything, just kind of, I just want to get in the gym, do the exercises properly, and build confidence in technique, so that if I want to push it later on, I can. I don't want to get hurt, So
you were doing a lot of running last time we spoke as well, right? You still doing a lot of that?
Not so much. I have tried running twice a week. This last week or two, it's been so icy. So if it's too icy, I just don't run.
But you like to run outside, right?
I do.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I ran yesterday. The sidewalks are slushy, but that's fine because I'm not worried about slipping. That's really it. I'm excited. I think in a week or two, like the weather's gonna turn. It'll be
Finally nicer, yeah.
finally nice to go out. I'm excited. So yeah, you mentioned like having a checklist in business, right? So this might be a good way to get into it. So you started a company. I know not too much. It's called Quotograph, and has something to do with taking quotes in an easy way. But that's all.
That's
really
it right there.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess last time we spoke, I had released that book, and I was also working kind of at a tech startup as well. And I think that's just where like this entrepreneurial bug was born. Because yes, I had a product of my own that I was learning how to like. At first, it was just like I just wanted to release a book, right? I was not thinking of let me make this many sales, let me market a strategy, like any of that, right? To me, my goal was just to release the book, so that's what I did, right? But then when you work in like business, it's always like, what are sales, KPIs, marketing? What did your plan? How are you gonna grow? How are you gonna scale, right? So I think a lot of that kind of just it eventually kind of took place in me, kind of ingrained itself in me. And then I knew a book was great, but I wanted to do something bigger, right? So create like a startup, specifically like a tech startup. And that's just when like AI and all this stuff ChatGPT was getting big. And I just did some brainstorming, right? I was just like, we just wanted to create any app, right? It's like to get from point A to point B, there's Uber, you call it Uber, they're there instantly, right? You want to order food, you same thing, it's there instantly. Groceries now as well, right? But construction, handyman is not the same thing at all, right? Okay. We did some like a little bit of analysis. There's maybe I shouldn't say the specific names, but like the mainstream ones like TaskRabbit, right? They're out there, but we're like, why haven't they like really taken off to the same level, of course, as Uber, right? Where like everyone has Uber and we'll call a driver, right? And we just thought like it's just there's no fun in it. It's no different than just calling a contractor and then just like explaining everything, because there's like everything is manual in these apps, right? You're just grabbing what needs to be done. There's so much back and forth. It's just like, oh man, it's not even solving a real like a pain point, right? But they're still, of course, they're out there, right? So we're like, what if we make everything like super simple? And we're like, let's basically like decrease the amount of time that it takes to A, connect with the contractor, but then B, to get the whole project started, right? Okay. Once the project is started, then they can work on like, everything is defined. They can do it on their own time, right? You can be at work, but it's that first stage where you're like, something broke, right? You need to get a contractor. You're stressing out because you're at work. Maybe you have to come home. You have to call in sick, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. So that was our whole idea. Like, just take photos of what you need to fix or what you need done. We'll analyze it using AI. We'll connect in that contractor's pricing, and then basically just give them an instant quote. So that was the whole kind of business concept. We started developing a marketplace. We had like 25 different contractors on the marketplace. It was just a private marketplace, which was just hosted on like a landing page. So it was only available like through the internet, and that's where we were doing our testing to see kind of where we could take this thing, right? But kind of long story short, we ran that for about a year. And we realized, we have these contractors like all over Ontario, and just financially, it didn't really make sense to launch a marketplace because we were charging like a 2% commission, targeting kind of the smaller guys. And then we took place in some incubators, Velocity Incubator in Waterloo. And that's really when we really started kind of like rethinking this whole thing, where it's like, again, it's like your whole idea at first, maybe just to create a business or create a product, right? But then it's like when you think deeper into it, it's like, how do I actually scale this and make real money and create real value? And then that's when we talked to a lot of like bigger contractors. We showed them what we had, and they're like, I like the whole analysis part, but like, why don't we just like embed this into our existing software versus like another marketplace, right? Because there's so many out there. So that's kind of where we've pivoted to today. General contractors will have their own software that they use. So we're basically trying to integrate into various different kind of industry leading softwares right now, and offer like direct integrations. Maybe they have their own custom software, but just integrate our, basically what it is like construction. Sorry, I just spit on your mic a little bit. Construction analysis technology. So like the same tech we were using to get the quote, we're now using to either give like compliance summary reports, safety alerts, or if they want the estimate, we can analyze their photos and videos and provide estimates as well. But now it's not in a marketplace. It's like directly within contractors' workflows.
Okay, so that was a lot.
I know.
So I have a few questions. So what's the target market? Is it still the small contractors? You mentioned you're working with the larger contractors. Is it for, like, what's the size of projects that these contractors are involved in?
Yeah, so it was smaller contractors, but now it's shifted just to the larger ones.
Okay.
Because they'll have budgets specifically like for digital construction technology, right? Or they'll have like a digital construction manager, like director of virtual construction. Now these roles, like, were not even maybe around 10, 15 years ago. These large GCs are dedicating resources and budgets towards construction technology. So that's specifically who we're targeting, like these directors that are in charge of the spending. Then of course, then they'll refer us to the owner of the company, for us to kind of like close the integration, right? But that's kind of our kind of go-to-market strategy in terms of who we're targeting, and our target market.
So I'm not sure I understand where you're coming into the process. You mentioned, like, when you did your trial, that people like the analysis part of it. So what's the input, and then like what's the output of the product?
Yeah. So we do any visual inputs, meaning images, videos, specifically with like general contractors. They do a lot of 360 video. So same thing. They basically feed us all this data. They can also put in like floor plans, project schedules. Essentially what we're doing is, again, like construction analysis, right?
Okay.
So we're just analyzing all of this data, usually visual data, and then we're creating like one automated product, which could be the automated report, which essentially would really help a project manager. So instead of having to maybe even go on site and do your whole checklist, make sure like, are you even on schedule? Now you can get anyone who's on site, just take a simple, quick 360 video of it. We'll analyze it and now create you your report. You can go in and verify some stuff, right? Look at the reconstruction, look at our report. We'll like even flag out certain things that we think maybe is a hazard. If we found any cracks in concrete, maybe this excites you because of engineering, right? But we would kind of flag that out as well.
Yeah.
And then it'd be up to the contractor to basically like, hey, do I want to go and dress this or not, right?
Okay.
So I know it's a little bit complicated, but we've basically we took the technology out of the marketplace, and now I've inserted it into a couple of different, when I say a couple of different workflows, that's because like some contractors are using specific software. So we've designed like built BIM, for example, like building information modeling, is a completely different kind of workflow. That's almost like SketchUp, right? Where you're just designing and making updates there, versus like taking videos. It's a completely different workflow, right? Just meaning like we integrate into whatever workflow they're already using. So if they're already taking videos and maybe they're putting it on like manually, right? Like on their iPhones, and they just send it to their over iMessage or email, and it's all over the place, right? Or there's something maybe they're already using BIM, but we can even improve that even further as well.
Yeah. So I'm not familiar with the construction industry at all. So some of the questions I'm asking might be very basic. So at what stage of the construction do you come in? Is like, if you're taking a video of something in process, I guess that would be an input to, flag, like you said, like something wrong with the concrete or a crack or something. But would the product also be involved in like a new construction with like just schematics and floor plans, or like, do you have different use cases that the product works for?
Yeah, so yes, we have a couple of different products that will be used at different points in the workflow. instant estimates will of course always be in the beginning stages, or when they're even forming their takeoff, like what materials are going to be needed. So we can even do an analysis of that. Like if they take their video, some of the stuff is very simple, right? Like a flooring company, they might just need to know, what is the general surface area of where I'm installing, and just tell me like what material does the customer want, right? And then we can do our quick measurements that way. Versus something like painting is like really interesting, because like it costs more to go from dark to light to dark, right? So if you wanted to paint from like white to black versus black to white, right? So we also put that into our algorithm. So if you take a photo of this place, I want to paint it. Well, okay, what color do you want to paint it, right? And we can say, okay, this is the original color, and this is what color you want to paint. This is likely how much paint will be required, and then we can form the estimate that way. So for the estimates in the beginning, we have another product called the Project Summary and Risk Report. That one is more that's more made for project managers, so they can kind of track their project, help save them time as the project progresses and goes on. And we are working on one of our newer products, which we haven't released yet. We're still working on, would be basically automated drone detection. So basically the first step would be we can send a small little drone through their construction site. It would do the reconstruction, and then same thing. We send that to our API. We would do our analysis and then give them those automated reports as well.
Okay. So for the painting example, you'd have so let me back up a little bit. So in the beginning, it was a product that would connect contractors with like consumers, whoever wants to get the homeowners. But now it's basically at the contractor / construction level. They'll go in, take their videos, photos, use the product, and then the company will generate this report via your product, which uses AI, etc. And then they go in and check like, oh, this looks off or whatever, and they'll give you feedback. You can address those concerns. So with the painting example, it would be like, let's say I'm in this room, I record a video of this area in the kitchen, feed it into the program. Your program will calculate the surface area.
Yep.
And then I'll tell you like, hey, tell me how much it costs to make the paint white, and tell me how much it costs for it to be black.
Exactly.
And then it'll spit out a number. And then the contractor will be like, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe we'll charge a little bit more here. Or okay.
Yeah. I mean, that is a very simple example, because as long as we are accurately detecting the surface area, they're telling us what the rate is, right? So we're not guessing the rate. That was the problem in the marketplace, right? Because there's way too many complexities. But here it's like, what do you charge per square foot? I charge $2, $3, whatever it is, right? It's like, boom, there always could be a little bit of error, but we're just trying to bring the level of error down, right? With that, there's theoretically, as long as we get all the measurements accurately, then there would be no error, right?
So AI is relatively new, I guess, and getting incorporated by companies like yours and a lot of other companies. I'm curious how accurate is it? Like, do you come across issues where it doesn't calculate properly or something's off?
For sure. So a big thing is, of course, in this industry with construction is like accuracy, right? Yeah. No construction company wants to use something if it's not going to be like even like over 90 or 95% accurate, right? So we were getting a lot of issues with the marketplace, which is actually why we shifted. When we say AI is mainly used, for example, for like the analysis of what's going on, the summary. We're not just for an AI company either, though, right? So like, for example, to get measurements, that's a very complicated process that is not really using AI, right? Now, on the consumer level, though, or when a contractor is using it, they have no idea what's behind the hood, right? They don't know how we're calculating measurements, whether it's like a very quick, simple way, like we could use like segmentation, right? So like if there was any standardized object, so I see some light switches or an outlet, whatever, we can use that as a scale and then get measurements for everything else. That's a starting point, right? Something very quick. But again, there's a lot of different, if someone wants very high accuracy, okay, let's do an augmented reality approach where you actually
Okay.
have to do it, right? So it's all now again, it all depends on what the customer wants, right? So if you say I need 99% accuracy, that's fine. We can provide it, but it's going to take a little bit longer for you to do your for us to do the
Oh,
analysis and you to do the measurements, right? Because you want that accuracy. So that's kind of the pivot that we've had. Really, just like really focusing on what the customer wants, right? Whatever the customer wants is what we will create.
so that is your input. Like, how accurate do you want this to be? Is that like one of
The
the
higher the accurate, the more it would cost. And yeah, because we have to use certain technologies and it'll take longer to develop and all that, right?
right? So if someone was at the lower end of the accuracy, like for example, this is just an arbitrary example. You can correct me or if I'm wrong. You might just go like, all right, pictures and videos are fine. Let's say if you want a highly accurate estimate, if you're using augmented reality technology, is that just like an app on the phone, or is there special hardware for it?
Yeah, it's no different than like the measure tool. So we can offer it something similar to that, where you do a drag and drop. Augmented reality requires a device though, right? So you can just use typically like any newer model phone would work. Now there's a newer technologies coming out all the time. Not really new, but there is LiDAR the newer iPhones have as well. That can also be of assistance to getting measurements as well. So even if that could be the requirement, right? Like, hey, we can offer you this augmented reality approach, but we need this LiDAR approach, sorry. But you need like iPhone like 11 up or something, right? It's around there. So we can also offer stuff like that. Again, it's just then you might need to buy those devices, right? So it's going to increase the cost a little bit, but it's all dependent on what the user wants, right? So for the reports, you don't necessarily need a 99% accurate summary of the report, because the biggest thing you're seeing is like it's for verifications, right? People are on site. You just want to know like what actually happened today, right? So okay, this was put in. Was it either was put in or was not put in, right? The biggest way that we'd miss something is if actually you don't scan something. So it actually goes back to like what is the method of you're using to capture everything, right? There's a lot of different ways that we can even process the data for accuracy. So if we get sent a video to bring costs down, we might analyze like every 5 or 10 frames, right? If we notice accuracy is not maybe the best, well, let's start analyzing every 1 or 2 frames. And now we're getting a lot more data. And the more data we have, it's like the more data, the better the results, right? But the cost will also go up as well.
I see.
So
Okay.
we're very flexible with if you want the accuracy that we can bring it up, right? It all just depends. Like if you just need to know like high level what happened in your project, though, you don't need that high level of accuracy usually, right?
So like the output, is it mainly like how much is it going to cost, or are there other metrics too?
The estimates would be the how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
The project summary is divided into 2 parts. So yes, it could summarize if you just take one video, but that's not really where we see the implications. Especially for the large GCs, the way we're doing our pilots right now is they send in data, perhaps usually a minimum once a day, right? So at the end of every day, they'll do a capture. There might be some cases even where they do multiple times a day. Like, look, this wiring was put in. Let's do a scan, and then before we cover it up, just so like we track it, it was put in or something, right?
Okay.
So when they feed us the scan, sorry, what was the question again?
Yeah, it's like, so one use case is an estimate, maybe like before doing something, for example, like a paint job. Another, it sounds like what you're saying is another use case would be, hey, let's do a scan or whatever whenever we complete a task.
Exactly.
And this is a way to feed it into the system and track the work that was done.
Yes, exactly. So the output there would be the summary would be the first part, and then the second part we have the risks and recommendations. So anything that if there's a puddle on the floor, that's a risk because you can fall and slip.
Okay.
Right? That will be flagged. We'll take we'll take a photo of it, a screenshot, and then we'll also give a recommendation. So that one's very easy, like mop up your puddle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But of course, like the more complicated stuff, right? Like this wiring is not covered, right? And like we can even recommend maybe, to go with the overall design of your project, maybe, use this material as well, right? So we can get into all that stuff as well. The two biggest things though would be the estimates and the reports / risks as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So like how if this is being done in an automated way, like through a video or LiDAR or whatever type of scan, you can recognize like a crack or like a wiring, maybe the shielding is off or there's some issue. That must have been fed into the automation at some point. Is it strictly like you're using an AI that already had all that figured out, or are you feeding it into your product? Like, or do you, like, for example, uh, building construction specific issues? How is that built into the automation? Are you guys feeding it in, or are you pulling it from somewhere else?
So of course, as a starting point, we had to just use general knowledge or off the shelf LLMs, right? Now, as we've gone on though, and we have like big customers doing the testing, they tell us exactly what they're looking for, right?
Okay.
Now it depends if they're working directly with us for a custom solution. We can't use that that information is strictly confidential with them, right? Now we are also lucky, like we have some partner kind of contractors, partner companies that have really seen the vision like from the beginning, and they've been super helpful. Like, like, hey Taj, like I think it'd be great if your overall tech could include this, right? And we've put all of that into kind of our prompts and our algorithm. So it's all proprietary. So we know exactly what to look for, that another company, if they wanted to try this, they wouldn't be able to replicate that essentially, right? So it's not just like some open source database that we're just like pulling off the internet from.
Oh, okay. That's so cool. It's come a long way since your initial marketplace test, it seems like. So you're working pretty closely then with your partner companies, the people involved in construction, getting all that knowledge into this software. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Data is a new gold, is what they say.
Yeah, it's a lot of data analysis and like what's the word? Like reading info from videos and pictures. I don't know what the name for that is, but that's pretty cool. Wow. Did you think you would have moved in this direction when you started?
It was really tough because like the initial concept was like for anyone to be able to get that quote and for it to be, because you've also heard horror stories, right? Where it's like I was quoted this much, but I was quoted 20,000, but I ended up paying 50,000 or whatever. Those crazy horror stories, right? That was a big pain point that I was really trying to solve in the beginning stages, which is like, that's very true in my heart even, right? Because I'm like, it's like almost the democratization of quoting really is what we're focused on, right? Now that doesn't mean that we're still not focused on that. It's just like, well, if we can get revenue from selling the technology directly to contractors, we're still open to then launching a marketplace afterwards. And then the way it all works beautifully is like, now with all that data, we're actually able to create some sort of generic solution, right? Because of all the insights that we've gained over those years, right? Permitting that we're allowed to use them. So that's kind of our new vision. So we still have the marketplace, it's there, but we don't want to launch on the App Store until later on, until we want to fund it fully ourselves as well if we can. So until we get that full validation, run the numbers, make sure it all works out, then we'll consider launching the marketplace. But definitely still in the pipeline.
What's the market right now? Is it like GTA, Ontario, or
marketplace?
like your customer base? Like, is it Ontario? Or...
No, so that's the good thing now. Now it's just North America.
Oh, really?
Because we're not targeting too much of smaller guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we're trying to target like the big cities in the States. San Francisco has been really receptive for some reason.
Really?
I guess, well, they are very open to technology. Silicon Valley's there.
Right.
I think what happened, like we were reaching out to some investors in San Francisco, and a good investor would be like, okay, I got a buddy that's in construction. I want you to talk to them, right?
Okay.
So we got a couple of those, and they're like, yeah. Like, well, also San Francisco traffic is insane. So even when we were doing the marketplace idea, it's like if I could virtually provide a quote,
Yeah.
that is like, he's like, I would pay so much for it, because I hate driving an hour just to provide a quote just for someone to say no thanks.
Oh, I see. Just you save the travel time.
Exactly.
Like a couple
There you
of
go.
hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And that's if you get, the homeowner could just take the photo, right?
Yeah.
But the concept still applies now because you have so many people on a construction site, right? So you just need anyone to just take that video or photo, and then eventually we'll have, it'd be really cool. Like you send in robots, you send in drones, and then they can do the analysis, and then it's fully automated, right? So yeah, that's kind of the vision that we're working towards.
So, okay. So what I'm imagining when you're saying this is what I've seen in movies where, like someone sends in like a drone and you get a 3D model of the place, all the, how things are wired, everything. Mm-hmm. But that sounds like a cool future use case, I think. The companies that are using the project summary or the estimate, then I presume they would look through and like verify the report before they're okay with it, right? And like they're not expecting, or are they expecting the product to be accurate? I know we kind of touched on this earlier. Mm-hmm. Is that how it's generally used? Like someone will look it over and then see how
different customers have different, I guess, problems or use cases.
Yeah.
For one of our clients, like they're most concerned of just like the safety part, where it's like, we just want to see the risks, right? So if you outline those, they understand that it's not going to be fully accurate.
Yeah.
As in, we have our whole philosophy is like, if we think anything could be a potential issue, it's going to be on us. We're going to let you know, right?
Okay.
Even if we think, because we rather tell you something and it's not an issue versus us miss something, right? So that's why we added in the image context as well. It was a request from our customers, just so they can quickly like decide whether it's actually a risk or not, right? So they're fully okay with like, yes, we know, especially in the early stages, like it's not going to be 100% accurate, right?
Yeah.
It's all about setting those expectations as well, right? But they literally are seeing the value where it's like, like they'll go to a job site, they'll take the video and it's like, oh yeah, it's like, one of our guys this week, he told me, Paul, he's like, man, it's like I took a video and you guys told me where I should have been covering some hole, right? He's like, I knew I should have covered it, but it's just cool how you guys pointed it out, right? And yeah, there's a lot of other like companies out there that are just doing like overkill for kind of what needs to be like specifically with drones, because it's just like, you gotta send the drone out and it's so expensive,
right?
But then they're also charging an arm and leg to do that full analysis as well. So we can offer even a cheaper solution, which is video, right? We understand a lot of companies, they do want to invest in drones. That's why we are also like focused there in the future. But it's like we have this like ability to offer the same product pretty much at a much cheaper rate as well, right?
Yeah. So it's like you're covering at first, or at least the most basic issue. You're trying to flag anything. I guess what I should say is, if a contractor can save time, for example, tracking all the issues they see via video, that would be a value add right there. Like the example you mentioned, it's like there's a hole in the wall. The guy, your guy Paul, he knew it was there, but with a report, he doesn't have to write anything down. It's just like, hey, here's
the issue, and then it's like if you fix it, you take another photo, and it's all in the project management system, right?
So you're saving like paperwork essentially. Not only, I'm not saying that's all you're doing, but in this specific example, it would be one value add that is clear, I think.
And one thing is like the construction industry, now times are changing for sure, but it's been pen and paper or pencil and paper for
Oh,
the
yeah.
longest time, right? Um, and I completely get it. It's like, it's like if it works, if it's, it's like that saying, if it's not broken, like why are you fixing it, right? But now it's like because the technology has actually improved to a level where it's like, look, we can say there's clear ROI, right?
Yep.
And also it's like we're not replacing anyone's jobs, right? We're trying to make your job actually, like we're trying to make you at your job more efficient.
Right.
Everything, like all the feedback we got from contractors is like, look, I don't want to do paperwork. I want to quote unquote, I want to hit shit with a hammer. That's what they say, right? It's like, okay, let us take care of the paperwork through our technology and you go hit shit with the hammer, right? It's like, we're not going to stop you from do that. We're going to empower you to do more of that, right? If you're doing more work, you're also getting more sales, right? You're making more money, right? So you're making more money by doing more of what you love, and you're spending less time doing the stuff that you don't like, which is just repetitive paperwork, right? So yeah, that's kind of why we pivoted as well, because it's like now it's like a win-win, right? Whereas before it was like, hey, we have this marketplace. I know you already are fully booked, but it's really cool tech, and we think you should try it, right? But it's like that's the disconnect, right? Because like you're asking for way too much, versus now it's like, okay, you guys are already, maybe if they're forward thinking, they're already using a software, right? It's like, okay, that's great. You guys already see the ROI, the potential, right? But it's like you guys are still doing manual inputs. You are manually inputting line items, descriptions, what was done, right? All of that we can automate and save you time. And then there's like just clear ROI, right? So yeah, no,
Yeah, yeah.
I get excited about this stuff. So I just started
No, it's
spitballing, right?
It's cool. Like my what I do for work is testing, like software testing, some little hardware testing. Actually, no, mostly software. But anyway, over the few years that I've been doing it, anywhere I can automate something, that's what I want. Like creating reports. If I could like save an hour on that, that's great. It's like a value add there. So a very simple, analogous example would be making use of macros in Excel, right? Like creating graphs, making all automated so that it's just copy paste. So yeah, I can see where you get excited. So it's I feel it. Like, I don't think I show it very well, but it's cool. I do see what you're saying. On the drone side, what does the drone industry look like? Like I have no idea.
So most people right now are doing manual fly-throughs. So they'll have like some large companies, large GCs, they might dedicate like 10, 15 people actually just to their drone department. Now you're able to virtually fly drones as well. There's range issues, of course, but that's kind of what they're using right now. So like they'll have maybe a central guy. They'll have projects all across North America, right? Because now we're targeting those bigger guys. So it just makes a lot of sense for them to just manually fly that drone into their site. Drones also have LiDAR technology, so you can use that same tech to recreate the space. And that's what they're using right now. Most people, there are some solutions out there that do the analysis. It hasn't really taken off in the industry just quite yet. It's kind of an up and coming thing. Where now it's like the automated reports and analysis and all that's coming in. I haven't seen too much of the. There's for sure the automated robots, which you see with the arms and legs and they walk through the sites. Drones is going to be a different case because you got to get something that's small enough to fly through, right? So yeah, we haven't released this product yet. We're still in the R&D phase to see if we can get a drone that's small enough, and we're doing this pilot testing with our large GCs to where we can offer that solution. But yeah, right now, as far as I'm concerned, it's quite manual with drones.
Oh, cool. And so LiDAR, I don't know specifically the technology, but it's used to map out an area essentially. Right?
Literally, yeah.
Okay. And are you involved yet in getting licenses for drones and stuff? Is that hard? Is it easy?
We're really in the, I would say, early stages still. We have hired one person that's going to be dedicated to this project. for right now, what we are doing is we're working with the companies that already have drones. So they already have teams that are flying the drones, and we're just analyzing the output. It's actually no different than just a regular video, because some drones can just record a video, right? But we're also getting feedback from them for how do we transition, right? So what is that process that we can actually automate, and what are they looking for? What are the requirements, right? So that maybe it has to go through these certain tight areas, these storage rooms. Otherwise, if it's too big, you can't go there, right? And there's a whole lot of, I guess, liability then as well when there's automated drones. That's why right now, like we're really just in the R&D phase, right? The whole new, like our new philosophy is like, of course, like what everyone's philosophy should be when building a business is like, of course, get that traction first, right? So we think this is a really cool idea. We have early traction, but the real way you measure traction is like, what are people actually willing to pay for it, right? So as soon as we solve all the legal and insurance and all those issues, then we'll determine like, okay, what does this market look like? What are people willing to pay for it? And then if it all makes sense, then we'll go forward with that as well, right?
That's cool. Because I guess at the start, you need someone who already has that know-how about drones, legalities.
Yeah.
Maybe pilots who are like experienced. So
you can just save so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
you save so much time.
Yeah. Why take on the extra headache?
Yeah.
Right. So that's cool. Yeah, I've seen a couple of drones just like around the neighborhood, just some kids playing around with it. So it's cool. Yeah, I could see a lot of use for drones, and specifically with the construction, that would be a good way to cover a large area of the building or whatever it is.
Yeah. So outdoor, like it's already in use, right? Like and that's, I guess I should have clarified that. When I say automated, I mean indoors, right? I haven't seen it in use. People are using it outdoors for everything, right? Because huge, like you're building a hospital.
Yeah.
Until you're maybe like at least 50-60% in the project, that's when you're actually covering everything, right? Initial stages, foundation, send a drone out, right? Putting up the initial structures. You're still, the crane's there. You're still building and building. The drone can basically go there until you put the windows on the site, right? Where you close up that building. So yeah, that's what those guys are doing. So if they send us those videos, we can analyze that. But yeah, the smaller drones, I guess, like that would be. I missed your original question.
No, I was just observing that the use of drones
is high.
Would be valuable, specifically indoors. If you want to cover, for example, you want to get a 360 camera view of an entire floor, someone to manually go around and like do that would be some man hours that could be spent doing something else, for example.
For sure. Yeah.
If like you said, like if someone wants to work on the actual construction of things, this is an extra task, then just send the drone out, or So I was just saying that I can see how that's a value add and makes sense. So that's cool. So for you as your day-to-day, I'm curious, like, or maybe we can look at it week by week, in terms of how you spend your time. How much of it is working with the technology? How much is it getting clients? How much is legal, etc.? Like how for you personally, how is your day structured or week?
So I do, as many startup owners or founders do, wear many hats.
Yeah.
Of course, but I would say the majority of my time, and it wasn't always like this, is now it's pretty much just focused on sales and maybe a little bit of investor relations, and then just like I would say like 40, like 60% sales, like 10% operations, like 20% investment.
So we're at like 90 now.
90, and then the 10% would be dev.
Oh, okay.
It's working with the dev team. Yeah. Traditionally, it was like maybe like 60% dev.
Yeah.
30% investors and 10% sales.
Right.
And the reason we've shifted is like sales solves everything. Right? So spending less time with investors because investors will come to you when you have sales.
Right.
They will chase you, which we've learned. And dev, you don't need to spend any time developing anything until you have maybe not sales, but at least commitments, pilots, something, right? Maybe in the initial stages, you want to show like a prototype, right? But you can just create that on Figma even, just design it. But yeah, if you focus on sales, like everything else will just come naturally, right? Legal, like we have we've been super creative with how we've been able to kind of navigate this whole like tech scene. Like we've got a lawyer on our team who's great, Kevin. He works with us part-time, but he's able to handle like contracts, legal, all that stuff, right? So now I don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah.
We have a great CTO. Of course, I really want to be involved in the vision of the product. But as we've grown, I've literally had to be like, you know what? Like I trust him, right? So I'm just like, I'm not even going to be involved at all, right?
Yeah.
I might check in every once in a while with you, but I'm not talking to even the developers most days, right? I mean, in the initial stages, it was like I wanted to check in every day, right? Not necessarily to micromanage, but just to be like, like what's going on? What I want to see the updates, right? But yeah, now I've had to become very like laissez-faire and just be like, you guys have your task and just trust that everyone's gonna do it. Because what the rest of the team really needs from me is sales and investment, right? So if I spend all my time, which is so easy when like you wake up and you have so many like requests, emails, like, what do you think about this? How do we do this? Right? That we're applying to this grant, is this right? Should we develop this product like this? Like I could literally spend my entire day, like Monday to Friday, just doing like internal operation stuff, right? But it will not get us anywhere, right? So that's why I've had that shift where it's like, I need to just like literally turn off Slack, just not talk to my team for a second, focus on these deals and investments, sales and all that, and then come back to these guys like, look, we have this grant, let's use this money to develop this. We have this investment, let's use this money, right? We have this pilot, let's just develop it, right? It's a lot more exciting as well from the dev side. And just in, I guess, general advice for anyone that wants to start a business, then it's like, look, you get your validation from your business, sales side and money, and then you can go to the dev side, develop stuff and literally go back and forth, right? But then you're not dependent, or like you don't have to like just be like, you don't have to pay developers for like 12 months for no reason, right? It's like first to get the sales and traction, and then you can just pay them and you save everyone's time as well, right?
That's cool. Yeah. So you really learned how to kind of manage your time to, I guess, push the company and product ahead. I guess you're thinking like, what's next is not essentially, but that's kind of the direction of your work. Getting sales, maybe investors, getting the product out there. That's cool, man. That's awesome. Then do you miss the working on the technology part since you're a little more hands off now?
Yeah, I mean, it's I really enjoy I enjoy designing the websites, stuff like that. I enjoy being on the brainstorming calls, even talking about like the smallest things, which I would never even like imagine would matter before. Like even from like to sign in to our app, right? It's like I want to make sure even that is flawless, and I want to be. I shouldn't be involved, but I want to be involved, right? Like make sure we have Google sign in, Microsoft sign in, have all the sign-ins, right?
All the integrations,
YouTube sign in, whatever it is, right? But yeah, you gotta step away so you could focus on the bigger things, right?
Yeah.
So the whole team can indulge in the bigger stuff as well, right? But yeah, it's hard, man, because I genuinely love like the operations part of it, right? Working with a team and coming up with stuff, and even just like even developing, right? It's like I love seeing the UX and everything, and just being like, oh, like I know customers are gonna like love this, right? A great example is like in our loading screen for our project summary report where you upload your videos. If you're uploading a lot of data, it will take us a little bit longer to analyze it all, right? So we've added, based off customer feedback, a Tetris screen, right? So they literally just like they play Tetris while they wait for the report. But it's just like I had so much fun, like being involved in that process of like, oh yeah, we're gonna develop this because I still want to make sure that it's fun and like flawless, right? But I didn't develop the game, right?
Oh,
The
okay.
developers did. Versus before, I might have been a little bit more involved. What is the layout and everything? But now it's like I just see the final product. That's it. I'm like,
Yeah,
looks good.
that's cool. I like
Yeah.
that. Add a little fun into the product.
We're
Because
trying to do that. Yeah.
when I think of construction, I don't think of fun. I think like, oh, it's got to be accurate. Make sure everything's per spec. Very, very rigid. I don't have experience in construction, so this is just my preconceived ideas. That's cool. So, okay, let me. I have a question, and it's kind of advice as well for me. So I'll try to kind of tie in what you were talking about. So at work now, I'm leading a team of people who are of validation engineers. They're running tests on different features and products. So right now, I'm working for Stellantis, the car manufacturer, and we do software testing of features that go in the vehicle, the infotainment and connectivity side. So I have a bunch of people who are like, this guy's testing 2 or 3 features, this person's testing another 3. So I have to kind of make sure everyone's not blocked in their testing, and make sure that everyone's kind of moving along, right? So when I started, I was one of the testers. I'm very involved in the tests. I know the ins and outs of the feature. What are the inputs? What are the outputs? If something breaks, how to troubleshoot it. But now I can't really do that, even though I really like doing that, because the more, like you said, the more I'm involved in it, the less I know of everything else is going on. And then when I report to my manager, I can't give an accurate picture. So that's kind of, let me set that on the table. Then there are some parts of the test that like you want to automate. You don't want to spend a lot of time manually doing stuff, clicking, etc. Whatever you can automate, you want to automate. So when I'm telling the team like, hey, try this approach, work on this feature, prioritize this project over this project. It's what I find difficult is trying to balance getting things done now optimally versus things I would like to see that would automate things a little bit more. So for example, like you mentioned having all the different types of sign-ins, whatever, it would be cool. Maybe that's not the priority right now. You just want to get 1 or 2 in.
Yeah.
So when you're interacting with the people that you interact with, how is it? Have you just developed a team that knows when you're talking about something you want in the future versus something that needs to be done right now? Is it a challenge to explain what is the priority and what is not the priority? The reason I ask that is I always question whether it's clear if I'm explaining things properly. And sometimes it'll take like a week or 2, and then I'll get feedback like, oh, like I didn't know you meant I should do that like right now. Do you run into those types of situations?
Yeah, 100%. I think even sometimes people will just like developers or whatever it is, they'll just want to do something. They'll maybe just get kind of in the process of something, and they want to just keep going along with it, right? Yeah. Even like I'll bring it back to that Tetris example. Like we knew there was a bug where it's like once it fully filled up, like the Tetris, then it just like it would just keep coming. The game wouldn't end, right?
Okay.
But that's something so small where it's like that would only happen if someone maybe like left their laptop, they came back and they didn't click check report, right? Otherwise, it's not even gonna take that long, right, to get to the top. But our girls, like the UX designers, they wanted to fix it, right? So it's just like as long as you can explain the reason why we had to prioritize other things, right? And on the dev side, it's like it's hard sometimes because they're only focused on dev, and then I'm only focused on sales. So that's why that disconnect comes, right? And I think that's the same in so many other companies where it's like and you almost get frustrated. It's like, why are you guys working on this? We need this first, right?
Yeah.
But really, it all comes really. I think it comes down to like management, because if you can articulate like, look, this is great, we're gonna fix it, but we need to get this sign-in issue fixed first because we can't make any money if no one can register and use the app.
No one can play the game.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think we have a good atmosphere, like a good culture where I will have to just be like sometimes the guys like, look,
Yeah.
we'll have a brainstorm session for an hour, but okay, now it's like, okay, we need to get this out. First step, just get the link out and live. We know there's gonna be bugs.
Yeah.
Then we'll address them, right? But yeah, there's always gonna be, you do want that culture where people will be like, I want to work on this, or like, what about this idea? But then you gotta just eventually just tone it back. Okay, that's great. This is great. I love all the feedback, but like time is limited. We got to do this now, and then we can come back to this kind of later, right?
Yeah. I agree. I'm trying to adopt. I mean, I follow that process, but there's always like knowing what you want and what you actually do and what people interpret when you say things.
Yeah,
they don't always align.
I know. Yeah.
So maybe I think it's just something in my head. I'm basically like your UX designers in this case. Like I want to fix the 1% thing, but like I don't need to go in that direction. If it's working generally well, it's like, okay, good. You know, if I personally want to be more clear in how I explain priorities, if I'm doing a good job 90% of the time, I should be like, all right, that's pretty good. But I'm just like, I really want that 91%. You know? So, okay, that's interesting. I guess that's just the way my head goes there.
Yeah, people get fixated on stuff, right? So you got to just
it is. It's not a situation where oh, I know I'm doing it, I'm just gonna stop. It's one of those things where your own tendencies. I'm guessing you've come across this pattern where you'll notice you're kind of following the same process. Like how do I say this? Like how you interact with people, how you operate. You might notice you've made the same mistakes once or twice. They might be tiny mistakes, but like after you notice it 3 or 4 times, you're like, all right, now I really have to fix it. Obviously you pay a lot of attention for big issues. Like, if your software crashes, it's like, let's not make that mistake again. Let's fix it and never have that again. But if it's a small thing, like I don't know, like something annoying, but it doesn't really have a huge impact. You might be like, all right, it's been like a few months. Let's get to it finally. I know it's tiny, but it's been a while.
You got to document everything. Back to that list. Prioritize the list.
But on that topic, actually, documenting everything. How do you ensure you go back to your notes? I make a lot of notes. I don't always go back to my notes. Like I want to make time to review notes, and I do it once in a while, but like seems like there's always more to do that's higher priority. But I know at the same time, reviewing my notes is important. Like I have to do it so that I know everything that's going on and I follow up on things.
I would say I've really prioritized, the number one thing I prioritize would be like organization.
Yeah.
So I won't even start my work like for the day until my office is fully organized, specifically meaning my notes, right?
Okay.
Because during the day, I'll just like start writing during meetings. You don't have time, you make notes, right? I'll come back to it. What I do either at the end of every day though, or the beginning of every day, is like before I even start anything, I just like compile everything into like one sheet, right? Okay. And then I'll prioritize like I know I have 100 things. What needs to be done right now, right?
Right.
And then I just kind of like, that's like my holy grail for the day. That's all I'm looking at. And I'm just like, okay, get it done. And then if I don't get everything done, it's like, okay, now what is the plan for tomorrow and the rest of the week? I've also like, I guess beginning of the year, I created like a 2025 plan. It's like a high level plan. And then it's hard to plan out for 12 months in the future, but at least like 3 months, like really get like, I super clear on exactly what I want to do in the next 3 months. And then also like I'll follow back up with that usually every Sunday night. Like, okay, like where am I at? Are we actually on track? So you have like your macro goals and then like your micro goals. But as soon as something is done, like these notes are done, rip it up. Like that's I don't know. It's like satisfaction to me, right? I don't have any notes from before, right? If it's not useful, like it's not useful to me, then I don't want it, right? And that note literally means like, sorry, I'm spitting too much today.
All right, no worries.
Like it just means, sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
You like ripping stuff up.
Ripping stuff up. It's giving me that satisfaction, right? But if I get rid of it, it means I took care of it, or I made a note of it at least maybe somewhere else. Like I maybe set a reminder a month from now to refollow up with that, right?
Yeah, I guess I have a similar approach. I have not been following it lately, but what I used to do is just like you said, make notes. It's like checklists essentially. I have if it's a to-do item, I make it a checklist item, and if it's a reference item, I'll move it to like a I don't know, like a OneNote page or something, somewhere I can go for referring to stuff. And then when the page is all addressed, I'll put an X in it. And then I would go back every now and then, find any pages that are not X'd out, address that. And then once I get to the end of the notebook, I'll just, all right, I'm going to recycle this now. I don't need this anymore. So I like looking at the X's on the page. It's like, all right, I did this. Because I agree, it's cool. Like, it's nice to have notebooks, but you should know what is the purpose. If the purpose of the notebook is to keep a history of things, makes sense. Don't cross it out. Keep volume 1, 2, 3. If it's just to keep track of things you have to do, cross it out, rip it up, recycle it, do whatever. Get rid of stuff, because getting rid of stuff feels amazing. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. There's a sense, even throwing old stuff out. It's just like this. You feel clear mentally and even physically, literally physically and mentally, right?
Yeah, because like you've invested time, emotion into a thing. It's just like something as simple as you read a book and you just give it to a friend. It's like, you keep it. It's like, I had my time with it.
I got my knowledge. I don't need anymore. I get it. Yeah.
But in that example, that's not a great example for me, because later I will be like, oh man, I should have kept that copy.
Like, what was chapter 12 about again?
Yes. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, man. What's on your docket? I guess we talked a lot about me, not much about you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working remotely from home for the last couple of years. Open for other opportunities, looking around. I mentioned via text some time ago. Last year I took 3 writing courses. The last time we did this, we were talking about your memoir, and I mentioned, okay, I think I'm going to write one at some point. I don't know if I'm going to write a memoir itself, but I do intend to write memoir, novel, something, whatever. So to make sure that's not just a wish list item, I decided to do the 3 courses last year. One was called Just for Laughs. It's a comedy writing course. One was creative writing, just how to get ideas. And the other one was writing mysteries and thrillers. I love reading mysteries and thrillers. So, we got to do a few assignments where you write in that style. This year, I'm going to do tools for success in writing, like how to use tools to optimize your writing process, etc. So I'm just trying to take baby steps. I don't know when I will actually write something, but as long as you touch base with it, you're more likely to do it later on.
Of course.
I employ a lot of writing now, like making to-do lists, writing down important events that happened so I can refer back to it later. Something as simple as, dentist today, this is what the dentist suggested. I need a new mouth guard. Then later I can go back and say, okay, so that was from February. It might come in handy when you're like claiming health expenses and taxes or something. I used to write poetry. I haven't done that recently, but I don't know, man. I'm just trying to I just don't want to. I don't want to get lazy. So I'm just trying to do a lot of things. Practicing singing. I'm looking for a guitar teacher if you know anyone. But yeah, so basically work-wise, it's kind of working in testing. That's kind of the area. And then outside work, I'm just trying to just do as much stuff as possible. So yeah. Yeah.
I think we should tell them how we actually first met in case they're not aware.
Yeah, we touched on it last time, but yeah, I was working at Chapters in South London on Wellington. You came in, I think, with your girlfriend at the time. And looking back on it, I know exactly how we met. You were like, that guy's wearing a suit jacket. He must be the manager here. And I think you said something like that. So, and then you mentioned, yeah, I'm an author. I would like to get my book in here. So, yeah, I was like, cool. Yeah, no, I just like wearing sport coats. I'm not a manager here. So I think I sent you to someone, or I may have like referred you via email or something. But I think you were struggling to get in touch with someone after some time via email, right?
Yeah, I was trying to. I mean, again, I just wrote a book. I didn't know what the process was. How do you get into Indigo? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So my not so smart self just would walk into bookstores, right? And be like, I have a book. Can you sell it here? Right. Not go to the right person to speak to. Like, it's like I would go to like a chain. It's like they don't even have the decision making power, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was just trying stuff, right? But it was good though. It's kind of you'd meet people and it worked out, right?
That's right.
And then we met, and then you're like, hey, I have a podcast as well. And
did it work out? Like, did you get into bookstores?
No, I just meant like it worked out in terms of us. I don't think like we're on Amazon. They might put it somewhere. I think we signed up for something there. But unless they've put it, like I have personally got bookstores where I've either donated the book or just given them a bunch of copies. Or I've just even left. Like I had a bunch of copies. I would go to the airport, leave copies there, or leave them in a library. Like some libraries have them. Because to me, again, it was all about just spreading the knowledge and the word, right? So it wasn't really even about the sales. But yeah, if you walk into some random bookstores in Toronto and whatnot, you'll see it. You see it in I think that's fun. That's kind of fun to it now too, right? It's like a chase. It's like a scavenger hunt. It's like it's like rare to find it. You can order online, but if you want to find the original copy in the bookstores, then yeah, it's a little bit of a maze now.
I think I mean I have a copy. It's probably signed. I don't remember, but yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
So I'll have that. When you're worldwide, I'll be like, I talked to him when he had his book that just came out. Is there going to be a part 2 sometime in the future with all this experience that you're gaining and you've had?
I was thinking about that this morning because I thought you might ask that question.
Yeah.
I think eventually it'd be nice. But again, it's not for like, it might not be for the aspect of like, I want to write a New York Times bestseller. It's more just like, I just want to even just maybe write it for my kids, right? Just like, I just want them to be able to go through it, right? Or even just like future family, like, oh, wow, like, this is what was done, right? But yeah, I think I enjoy writing as well, right? So I like writing my thoughts and putting creativity into it. So yeah, definitely. I think I will, but not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Too much going on right now,
Oh yeah. I doubt you have time to. I mean, I'm sure you could make time, but it's probably something to write about later. It's a good point you make about writing stuff for those close to you. I have my personal website. I write blog posts infrequently. So that's how I'm practicing my writing chops, trying to keep it up. Yeah, it's like, it's just for me to practice, for people to read in the future. And yeah, I mean, like I've had friends who post newsletters like every couple of months. It never made sense to me, but now it seems like something cool where, you make connections all over different places. And if you have a place where you can write something in detail and send it out, or anyway, I'm just kind of rambling, but yeah, writing for the sake of capturing, your life experience, it makes sense.
Yeah, you get better with it as you go too, right? So yeah, blog posts or news articles, like yeah, and then for uh, not publicity, but I guess yes, publicity as well, but just getting that's how you find your right viewers, your
Yeah.
audience as well. That's what I've learned. It's like you actually have to. This is what one of my mentors actually taught me, and I know he does this on LinkedIn as well. But he literally will just push out an insane amount of content, right? And his whole strategy is like what happens when you do that is like you just find the people that want to hear that content. You
Right.
create an audience, right? So you actually might lose followers, traction in the beginning stages, but then you're getting like quality like members of your audience and team, right? So I really like that kind of thing where it's like I tried to do that on TikTok a little bit, where it's like just pump out even if you have nothing to say. Like the same thing speaking, right? It's like it's a skill that you develop over time. Like just post something, release something, right? But yeah, I'm trying to do more of it. That was one of my New Year's resolutions, but I've only
Oh, really?
released 2 TikToks so far. So yeah, I'll have to hop back more on that. You know?
That's cool. I mean, I don't like. I see what you're saying about you push out content and you'll develop the following and people who want that content. Um, I personally don't know if I could do it because like the just pushing stuff out for me personally would be like if what am I doing? Like I understand if there's a vision. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do, but like these podcasts, they're pretty infrequent. I'm not trying to gain a following. My approach is just like, I like doing it. It's fun. If someone wants to talk to me, we'll sit down and the video is going to be there for whoever wants to see. The more different people I talk to, the wider the audience will be. But yeah, I guess it really depends. What your goal is. If your goal is to get a following, I think it makes sense. But
yeah, as long as you don't water down your content, though, that's the takeaway, though, right?
Yeah,
That's the flip side. Yeah,
I guess that's the caveat there. As long as you're not just putting videos out like, "Hey guys, I'm eating a piece of chocolate today."
yeah. But I have heard again for people that want the publicity, that is what they do.
Yeah.
They post every day, and it's no nonsense. It doesn't do anything, but it's like they know how to get the views, right? And I know that too. Where it's like you can post certain things, you can post funny stuff, you can post whatever comedic naughty stuff. You'll get the views.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're looking for, right? We're looking for the quality like viewership as well, right?
Yeah. It may be, I'm definitely not so active that it makes a difference because like I'm not going to post every day because I don't want to. So I it's going to be nearly impossible to build a following if I'm posting like once every couple of months or whatever. But I find value in it. I think I'm okay with it so far.
Yeah. Do what brings value to you, right?
Yeah. I think for me, this podcast is just, I may have mentioned it last time. It's a video diary of people I've met, good conversations. And hopefully someone enjoys listening to it.
Yeah, one day you can use AI to just summarize it all into like 1 5-minute video.
You know what would be cool? I don't know if I should say this. So AI, you can develop AI tool. You can feed it inputs to develop like a certain AI, whatever, right? Like people do.
An agent, yeah.
If there's like an AI voice of me based on all the podcasts, that would be very creepy, but also very cool.
Yeah. I mean, that again, so much data,
right?
Because you have hours and hours of podcast video. So yeah, it's like not just like audio. You can get like one day it'll be like a real Akshay just interviewing someone.
That'd be so weird.
An AI version of you.
It would be like I'm just thinking out loud. So I think I keep track. I've done like 30 to 40 hours of podcast episodes. And you compare it to like a Joe Rogan who's done 2,000 episodes. Let's say each one's 3 hours. That's 6,000 hours. That's going to be a very accurate AI representation.
They're already doing it with the celebrities.
Yeah, they have
you can
like
barely
ads
tell.
where
Yeah.
I see those on Instagram. It's like, I'm Morgan Freeman and I love this notebook or something.
The voice is working well, I think. The voice is hard to concern.
I can tell, like you can tell though, right? Like if
video 100%,
Yeah.
But sometimes if it's just the audio, it's like, because it's just, I mean, the way I can tell is by what they say.
Yeah, and the
Actually,
product they're promoting, it's like,
yes, but
and the
but it's not the
dialogue.
voice, right?
Yeah.
The voice is like, if they said something, if you heard Kanye's voice, but he's saying something that Kanye would normally say, you would just think it's normal.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's like people are using it to promote their products. Is like Kanye would not promote your product.
yeah. It's like you think of Kanye promoting, I don't know, like orange juice or something. I would be like, why
Sure,
OJ?
sure, yay. Oh, sorry, yay, not ya Kanye.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. Yay.
In case he's watching.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a cool world out there. AI, everything. Boxing.
True.
Is it? Are you training for a fight? Is it a workout? What is it for you?
It's also evolved, I think, over the past year. Started off, I was doing a lot of boxing. My neighbor, he's actually a boxing coach, so it's like I have no reason to not train, right? Because I'm like just walk across the street. Because even in the winter, like it's cold, so it's like you make excuses, right? It started off just as like a physical, mental thing, right? Because like you think before getting into boxing, like it's so easy because it's like as you know, like we're runners, right? So we do a lot of cardio. Cardio is already good, but it's a different level when you're getting punched and then you have to get more energy and try to recover, right? So I got humbled actually a lot by just starting boxing. Yeah, it's like now I'm so much of a better fighter, but like I'm so much less inclined to fight someone. That's a beautiful thing about boxing, right? It's like it just humbles you, and kind of, it's like, you know your capacities and everything as well, right? But then it just like I got really kind of just in the zone with it. Like I just really was enjoying it. At first, of course, you're sore and everything, but then when you see yourself getting good and you're just like, you're doing quick head movements, it's like you see the stuff you're watching it on TV on like Saturday night, and then Sunday morning, it's like, yeah, let's go. I want to go spar, right? So I think it was just a thing for fun. There was a time in there though where I was like, yeah, I might want to go for this, right?
Yo, man, I'm telling you, if you get hit in the head, it's gonna affect your work. That's the problem there. Right?
I know. That's I like my face.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to,
Well, your face, but like, your
yeah.
Like you get hit in the head next day at work, you'd be like, guys, we should do this product before ice cream.
Yeah.
You're like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, exactly. No, I started putting on a helmet as well, but or a head guard, but then I took it off because I'm like I don't want to get used to wearing the head guard, right? Because that's also the thing. Because like you want to train. Because when I had that on, my hands were just a little bit lower.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just not just because you think it's like it's not gonna hurt that bad. But when you don't have it, then you actually like you train to avoid it all the time, right?
So do you do sparring?
Sparring, yeah.
Is it like light sparring, not like someone's trying to kill you kind of sparring?
99% of the time, yeah. Sometimes my brother comes in there too, and we get a little bit of a rivalry.
Yeah.
Or when a new guy comes in, he might have that like only the first round.
Yeah.
Swing in, right? Just 'cause they don't know what they're doing, right? But then you just let them do their thing, and then second round and the first round, and then you start to give it to them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, it's like that's not what sparring should be. It should be 60-70% effort. Okay. But you're not trying to kill the guy, right? You're trying to teach them like get better movements, all that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. If you're ever in Ingersoll, then come up for a free session.
I'm scared. My motivation to learn a martial art is just so like I could walk into a room and feel like I could get out of a situation if something bad happened. I think that's really all I want.
That's all you need. Yeah.
Just want to be like, feel good, feel strong. Yeah. Not like I want to hurt someone. Just like I can just relax and be like, all right, well, if something happens, at least I won't get destroyed, like smash my head or something.
Have some dignity. Yeah.
So yeah, that's like something I've been thinking about for a few years, picking up a martial art. I'm trying to get my body right first, like lift, run, be comfortable with that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, running will help. Yeah, honestly, like boxing itself will also build you up.
Yeah.
Like, because you don't even like. It was hard to even work out in the beginning stages when you're boxing because like your shoulders are so tired.
Yeah.
And my boxing coach, we wouldn't just do a boxing workout, right? The first, at least half of it is like exercising, right? Warm ups and all that stuff. But like, he's got like pull up bars in there. So like, you're already exhausted before you even start fighting, which a lot of coaches do because that's how you get better, right? 'Cause then you are only focused on technique, right? You have nothing left in the gas tank.
That makes sense.
All you got is technique. You can't even move. You're too tired to move, right? So like his head movement, right?
So are you working out and you're just like, I know I'm gonna get hit today. I have like no energy in like sparring or something.
Oh yeah. There's, and you'll see when the new guys come in too. They're like, you can tell they just want to get out of there.
So how do you do it safely without getting hurt?
Well, you can tell like we're not gonna like just if someone's getting beat up, then you would just like again you have the coach would be the referee in that case, right?
Okay.
Or just gonna break it up. But once you get that discipline, you're trying to get them to be better, right? So you're not like you can just tell.
Okay.
I can tell you think he cannot take any more, right?
Okay.
And then I'll just start maybe hitting the stomach or something. Lightly, yeah.
Okay. You can tell I want to do it, but like something's holding me back. So
yeah.
we'll see.
It's exhilarating though. It is fun.
I bet it is. Yeah. So that's cool, man. Yeah. So I guess we covered the company, the boxing, the lifestyle. So it was yeah. I think we could end it there. It was really nice talking to you again.
Of course, man. I really appreciate you inviting me back. It was one last thing before we get off here.
Yes.
Last week, I was like telling my team, I'm like, I think we're at a good spot where we can maybe start doing a little bit of marketing, get on some podcasts. We literally I said it out loud, and you texted me the next day. I swear, it was crazy how it worked.
It's serendipitous. That's good timing.
I know, divine timing, man. It's been good, but yeah, I think I really like how we've both progressed over the past couple of years. But I think when we do this again in the next couple of years or even sooner, I think we're going to be shocked ourselves, where we're at. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. We'll do it again in a couple of years, see where we're at. Yeah. Wishing you all the best. Things are going pretty well for you. Things are going well for me too. So I'm happy about that too.
Of course, man. We'll get you in on some boxing sessions eventually too.
Sure. Let's do it.
You got the commitment.
I'll do an intro session sometime.
It's on video.
Yeah. It's like a boxing gym, right? You go to, or how does that work?
A makeshift gym. Yeah.
Okay.
A garage. I'm not selling this very well, am I?
No, you're selling it well. I'm just not. I might take that sure back. I don't know. We'll see.
Too late now.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Well, awesome, man. Yeah, thank you for inviting me back. And
of course.
Well, we'll run it back very soon.
Let's do it.